Can you even knit in the summer? We so associate knitting with wool yarns, winter sweaters, and it's understandable because knitting is perfect for those type of items. However, of course, knitting is for all time of the year. In the spring and the summer is a great time to start pulling out cotton yarns and linen yarns and knitting projects that are perfect for the poolside. So hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, give this video a thumbs up, and I'll share with you 5 projects perfect for summer knitting. Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I'm Carrie Craft Geek, and this is where I talk about making pretty things with pretty string for all time of the year, for sweater weather and summer weather. I am going to jump right into patterns today. However, I do want to quickly remind you that down in the description box, there will be links to all the patterns that I share today. All of these links are off Ravelry, so you can purchase these from the designer directly from their website or whatever sales platform they utilize. Also, I will have links to different materials and resources that I think are just helpful. Some of these might be clearly marked affiliate links. So if you click on one of those links and do some shopping, I might earn a small commission. And this really does help support my channel. It helps me buy materials for review, for demonstration, and various other services that help keep this YouTube channel alive and thriving. So if you utilize any of those extra means of support of shopping through an affiliate link or leaving me a tip through Buy Me a Coffee or a YouTube Super Thanks, thank you so much. It is so greatly appreciated. All right, with all that said, let's start looking at the pretty things we can make with pretty string. If you like designers who create well-designed classic silhouettes and are size inclusive, do not walk to check out Rebecca Clow.
These are my best-selling knitting patterns.
It's actually a designer that I discovered over on the Clock app when she was talking about size inclusivity, and I started looking at her work and I was like, I love this. I think it's classic design, it's fun, it's versatile, it will survive all seasons, but it's never boring, right? I just think she in her patterns always works in good, interesting details, and everything I see that she's designed just looks like it has impeccable fit. But what I love especially about her patterns is so often she designs a top or a project and then in her patterns offers different alternatives and styles to that one pattern. So really when you buy one pattern, you're getting really kind of a package, like 2 or 3, and you can have a bit of a choose your own adventure. So I just really love that about her work and her approach to design. Now, she has a couple of t-shirt patterns that I was eyeing, but the one I wanted to focus on today is the Lunan tee. This is a drop shoulder, top down knitted project, but what I was drawn to was the fact that it comes with a polo version with a little bit of a V-neck. I love V-necks. I'm always looking for V-neck tops. So often hand knit patterns have more of a crew neck, and I get why. Those are easier to knit than a V-neck, but I love the look of a V-neck. It just suits me and my personal style. However, if you're more of a crew neck person, this pattern offers that option. It's also designed to work with both a negative ease and positive ease, so you can choose the fit that you like best, and it offers gauges for DK weight and fingering weight yarn. Now, besides the neckline, what really drew me to this pattern is actually this kind of wide rib detail. That sort of vertical line in a shirt is just, I think, very flattering. It's very slimming, and it would be something you could make that has a little bit more visual interest than knitting a plain stockinette top. And frankly, If you like this, if you have not heard of Rebecca Cloud before, I highly recommend you check out her work. I think she has so many lovely, lovely designs. Um, and so many of her patterns are kind of these multi-optional sorts of packages where you're getting 2 or 3 patterns in one purchase. And yeah, I just really, really enjoy her work. I'm going to share with you the Blueprint Pullover by Paper Moon Knits. I feel like drop shoulders and saddle shoulders are really having a moment right now. And I think this pattern is a beautiful example of this construction. The Blueprint Pullover is an oversized drop sleeve top that is knit from the top down. I was really drawn to this top because it features this graphical, lacy V detail right in the shirt. This is not a V-neck top, but I feel like it kind of gives some of that feel of a V-neck because of this lacy insert. And I just absolutely loved it. Now, one thing I will say is I don't think the pictures actually of this top on the website really does the pattern justice. I found some project photos where the lacy insert detail is much clearer and actually made me kind of fall in love with it. I personally would lean towards knitting this project in a lighter color so that you can really highlight that graphical detail, which I think makes this top really special. This is an oversized top. It has lots of positive ease. If you want a more fitted look, you'll want to size down the pattern. It's also designed to be a crop top. So if you want something longer, you can knit it longer, but you will want to make sure you have more yarn than the yarn requirements are called for in the pattern. Now, although this is an oversized top, it does have slimmer sleeves, which I really like. I don't love when oversized tops have sleeves that are really like baggy as well. I like the proportions of this sleeve very much. I also kind of like that this is a 3/4 inch sleeve. Almost anytime I work a top, whether it's for the summer or it's a winter sweater, I almost always turn it into a short sleeve because I live in a warm climate. I just don't need a lot of sleeve. And frankly, I don't want to get stuck on Sleeve Island. But I think like a 3/4 inch sleeve is a really kind of nice in between look between a full long sleeve top or a short sleeve top. I don't know. I just like the look of a 3/4 sleeve. So I have purchased this pattern. I have purchased yarn for it, and I'm really looking forward to making it. However, be warned if you're used to working yoke or top-down raglan tops that this is not the same type of construction, so you'll want to read the directions very carefully. Also, this pattern was designed with a merino yak linen blend. However, I do think looking at this that the ribbing in the pattern is not strictly necessary to be functional, and if you want to use a 100% plant-based fiber for the summer, I think this would work just fine. And all in all, I think this pattern is just really beautiful. I think it has really lovely, interesting, subtle detail with the lacy, triangular graphic insert into it that kind of takes this from an ordinary top into something a little bit more special, a little more bespoke. And I think this is just a summer knit that can work with plant-based fibers, and you'll have a lovely, easy breezy top to enjoy throughout the year. A lot of times in summer, we think of summer clothes, we think of shorts, obviously, swimsuits, obviously, cover ups, but we also think of tank tops. Now, a lot of tank tops can be very casual, but it doesn't have to be. For a nice summer dinner outside, I would want to wear this, the Oolong tank by Amy Scher. Amy Scher is another designer that I did discover on the Clock app thanks to a series of videos that she did on customizing fit. And I absolutely fell in love with her work. What I loved when I saw this oolong tank was one, it's a V-neck, and of course, it has this gorgeous lacy detail. It's this leaf lace pattern that is reminiscent of the plant that does give us oolong tea. I love the way that it comes up the center panel and then divides to follow the V-neck to really kind of emphasize that type of shaping. This top is actually knit in the round. It's still mostly seamless, but it's knit bottom up. So if you have only done top down sweaters and you haven't knit a bottom up top, this would probably be a really nice introduction to that construction. Now, one thing about this pattern is that she did work the samples in an alpaca lace yarn. Now, alpaca, unlike lambs-based wool, it doesn't have a lot of elasticity to it, so it tends to have gorgeous drape and it tends to kind of stretch and stay stretched over time. So I think that you could still knit this top in a 100% plant-based fiber. Also online, I did see examples of this project done with 100% plant-based yarn or silk plant-based yarn, and they looked gorgeous. And the other thing is, it's such a lovely vest that if you wanted to wear this into the fall, paired with a long sleeve t-shirt underneath and layer it, this can be an all seasons garment for you. So I love that versatility as well. Now, if this top from Amy Sher does not appeal to you, she has other options. This is the slightly sassy V knitting pattern that I was also looking at from Amy Sher because, again, I'm obsessed with finding gorgeous V-neck tops. I wanted to talk about the oolong because I loved the lacy detail. But if you want a more, capsule V-neck hand knit shirt, the slightly sassy V, I think would be a great option from her. Again, this is another designer whose work I really love. And one thing I think is really unique about her in terms of the independent design world is she actually comes from a fashion background. She has that training. And so her patterns just have impeccable fit. So yeah, she really brings that knowledge of fit and pattern making to her designs. So we are about halfway through the patterns, and I want to know so far what you've seen. What are you interested in? What patterns are you most interested in knitting thus far? Now, we're talking about summer knitting, and what's one thing a lot of people do in the summer? Travel. And knitting tops is not necessarily a great travel project, right? Sometimes, especially for travel, we want a project that is easy to throw in the bag, isn't too big, and is a nice, relaxing knit for the poolside. In that case, you might want something like the Sloshy Shawl by Emily Wood Designs. The Sloshy Shawl is an asymmetrical garter stitch shawl that is knit on the bias. So your knitting actually slants into a diagonal direction. I really love bias knitting. I think it's really fun. I think the direction that the knitting takes, shifting into a diagonal, is just really visually interesting. And it means that you have a garter stitch project that's just a little bit more interesting. Because that's the thing about garter stitch shawls I personally always worry about is that it will end up being not so much a relaxing knit as a boring knit. But I think the Sloshy Shawl prevents that thanks to the bias knitting and this gorgeous color block feature that gives it the name Sloshy. This color block that you see here is created with intarsia. If you've never done intarsia knitting before, this project would actually be a really good introduction to the color work technique. It is not hard or complicated to do. Another thing I really love about this color block, besides it just being visually very interesting, is that I think we all probably have that variegated yarn in our stash that we never know what to do with. Well, this pattern is perfect for that yarn because this color block, you know, just gives you the space to use up that yarn and showcase that lovely variegation. The pattern does have an option to add fringe. Maybe you don't like fringe, no problem, don't add fringe. Maybe you love fringe and you want more fringe. You can add more fringe. I would probably add more fringe because I like some fringe. I think it's really festive and fun. And I think the great thing is at the end of finishing this shawl is that you have something that would be great in your beach bag. You know, sometimes in the summer, if we're at the beach, it actually can get a little cool and we need just a little something extra on our shoulders. You can have this in your beach bag and just throw it over your shoulder. So it's great little item to have in your wardrobe at the end of the day as well. Sometimes there's a pattern that you've been eyeing for a long time and you realize it's time to just get the pattern and work it already. And for me, that is the Bento bag by Shayna Lyons Designs. Bento bag is a modular garter stitch project that you can make in different sizes, which is great for using up scrap yarn. You can make these to be a bag that you get to the market or just more project bags that you can have in your stash. I don't know about you, but I am always needing more project bags. So this is a great functional knit. I love this bag. I love the look of this bag. I wanted to make this bag. And as soon as I'm done shooting this, I'm going to be hitting purchase on this one. So those are the 5 patterns. Okay, there's more than 5 patterns because I went on some side quests. But those are some of the patterns that I am looking at for this summer. I don't think you can really go wrong with any of these options. But what do you think of what I have shown today? What patterns are you most interested in? And of course, I'd love to hear your plans for your summer knitting life. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. If so, please make sure to give it a like, a share, and if you have one available, a hype up this video. All of these things help support my channel. It signals to YouTube that this is a space worth checking out. And of course, the best free way to support my channel always is to make sure that you are subscribed and you click on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. Speaking of videos, right about now, you're gonna get a suggestion for another video. So if you have time and you're not ready to say goodbye to me, you can just click on that video and watch what's up next. Otherwise, I hope that you have a wonderful day, evening, weekend, weeknight, whenever you may be watching this. And as always, happy health and happy making. Bye.